Hello traders, welcome to another daily analysis. Today is December 5th, Monday, and we're just right at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, of course, the biggest news over the weekend is the Italian Constitution Amendment referendum vote, which came out as a failure for the Prime Minister. The no group actually won. So the Prime Minister now has to resign, and that, of course, create a lot of volatility into the euro dollar and also the eurozone itself, because right now it pretty much signal another nationalist movement is going to rise up, and that's going to create another unstableness into the whole eurozone area. Now, what's the future for Italy? I don't know. Nobody knows. So we'll keep following up. But you're gonna see the chart later on. The interesting thing is that we see a huge drop in the euro dollar and actually a huge rebound. And euro dollar actually finished the day with very strong bullish sentiment. And I'm going to talk more about that. It's a very interesting sign. And then later in London session today, we have a service PMI from different European countries, which all came out quite positive. And especially the service PMI from UK, which is also above 55. So right now, really all the data coming out from UK was actually all quite well. I remember again a couple months ago when they just first voted to leave the euro. That was huge volatility, a lot of pessimistic, a lot of panic tone. But right now the economy itself is actually doing well. So, and because of depreciation of the currency, really now traders are not looking for the central bank to cut any interest rate further. They might not raise it, but as if for now, the economic side of it actually back up British pound pretty well. And on top of that, they were very lucky because the populist movement, of course, first of all, is that Donald Trump gets elected. And that's also helped the sentiment for UK. And now the Italy referendum was a no. That also help the sentiment for UK. So I think that actually British pound has a very good sentiment, a very good bullish sentiment, very good bullish fundament right now. Now, just to note that today the government has filed appeal for the High Court. So right now the court has to decide once again whether the Brexit can be a matter for the government or does it have to go through the parliament. I think they have about few days to decide it, and results should come out maybe soon. The earliest will be at the end of this week, and that's of course going to play a huge part in UK, because if the court ruling once again is in favor for the parliament, then that's also going to be very positive sentiment for UK and for the British pound. However, if the court rule out the previous ruling and actually in favor for the government, then that will be a very negative sentiment for the British pound. So it really depends. Again, everything right now for the British pound is really sentiment driven. We do have a lot of good fundamental data, but right now it's really the biggest burden in trader and investors' heart is the future. What is the future for this country? So that's why it's a huge political driven, it's a huge sentiment driven. So watch out for the court ruling. Again, if it rules in favor for the parliament, it's going to be very positive for British pound. If, however, it's in favor for the government, then it's going to be very negative for British pound. And in New York session, we have again another manufacturer PMI, which also very positive for US dollar. And later on in a couple hours, we will have the cash rate for Australian dollar and also the statement. Now, the market expectation is to be hold, but we want to look out the statement to see what are the further hint from RBA. Sentimentally, WTI broke above $52 per barrel today, but then was not able to close it. Now, right now, the oil market has started losing its strength and momentum. Again, like I said last week, also we do have agreement, but now people want to see the real concrete detail. And as long as the OPEC members cannot provide exact details, then there's always going to be a lot of doubt over this agreement, and that's why the oil market sort of losing the momentum right now. That doesn't mean it's gonna go down. Okay, you have to remember when we talk about momentum, it's nothing more than just a force. So when I say it loses momentum for upward, it doesn't mean it's gonna go down. No, it just means it's gonna drift in a sideways, and that's pretty much what's gonna happen right now. Unless we have another good news coming out from OPEC, and of course we have another bad news coming out from OPEC, that's gonna drag the oil market down. The equity market closed all high today, all green candles. So the whole general market is actually still very positive, still risk on sentiment. And don't forget, when it comes to December, you're going to have a Christmas rally from the stock market. There's going to be another huge rally for the retail. It's a holiday season right now. So that's all play into a positive sentiment at this moment. So today, the euro dollar actually was a gap down versus the US dollar. It was no surprise because from the Italian referendum. However, it actually closed the gap and completely reversed the position. So I actually lost today. I'm gonna tell you more about that. But I'm just gonna read here to see what else it's important. The ECB bond extension program, they're gonna announce it Thursday, and most likely they are going to extend it. Market expectation is extended for 6 months, but we'll see what happens in Thursday. Really depends on the tune. And of course, the Italy referendum is going to play a huge factor for them as well. And really, I think overall, regardless who is buying or selling euro right now, I do think the future is really bearish just because it's so unstable. You know, all these small countries are getting more populist, are getting more nationalist. It's just the whole euro concept seems to be in the age of collapsed at this moment. The British pound, on the other hand, is actually quite positive. However, nothing is in the long term for British pound. As I mentioned, it's really dependent on the political movement right now. So it's really dependent on, for this week, it's dependent on if the High Court ruling is in favor for the Parliament or not. And oil market in general, it's a positive sentiment. It's going to be positive, but we need another push to go higher, and that also means we need a push to go higher for Canadian dollar. US dollar, it's a down day today, but most likely it's just losing the strength, because it's overextended for too long. And right now, people, whoever is buying it, some of them are cash out, some of them are taking the profit. So it's dropped. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Fundamentally, it's still a very strong currency. We will see what happened to the Federal Reserve meeting and decision this month. We did have some voices come out saying that maybe the strength of the dollar right now, it's playing a fact into this rate decision. So right now, things are actually quite inflated, and the fiscal policy from the newly elected government looks to be very, very, very boosted, basically. So the Fed member actually came out and said that maybe the policy is it will cause too much inflation, basically, because right now the economy is already heated. Now, if you heat it up again, it will be overheated. So that's what they're saying right now. So that will take into effect for their statement, which you just have to watch out. But if all things are equal, US dollar is still fundamentally strong. So let's take a look at our 28 pairs. But before I do that, let me take a look at this week's calendar. So today, as I mentioned, later on we will have the cash rate from Australian dollar, which is expected to be on hold. But what we want to read is a statement just to see if there's any hint whether they're going to cut rate or raise rate, things like that. Thursday, you have no tier 1 data. Trade balance is not really important. The GDP price index is important for New Zealand dollar, so this is important to take a look. And of course, what you want to see is if there's a large number. Right now the largest number in the past 5 is 11.4. The most negative one is -0.3. So this is sort of like a maximum and minimum number you want to take a look to see if there's. But GDP price is important for New Zealand dollar. It's their very important in export for dairy price. Another thing for New Zealand dollar is that Prime Minister stepped down today due to family reason. Now, of course, it's not a big event, but it's going to, of course, create some unstableness in a country. So whenever you have this politics or politicians, the last thing you want is really change. People always say that they want to change, which is good, but you don't want a sudden change in a politician or political group. It's just going to create a lot of unstableness. And whenever investors sense the unstableness, they are not going to put their money in that country. So that's kind of a bearish sentiment for New Zealand dollar, just because the Prime Minister stepped down today. And the RBNZ government is going to speak tomorrow. That's also going to be another risk event. And then you have a GDP quarter from Australian dollar, which is also important. Now Wednesday, manufacturing production from UK. You have a cash rate from Bank of Canada, which is again expected to be on hold, but we'll see what happened to the bank statement. And crude oil inventory, so these two actually came out, it's going to be important for the oil market for Canadian dollar. And the trade balance for Chinese data. Now Thursday, you have again minimum bid rate is from Euro, but most important thing is a press conference. This is expected to be the same. So we just want to see the press conference to see if they're going to extend the bond program, and also how long they're going to extend that. And you finish the week with preliminary consumer sentiment from US. So really not a whole lot of risk events. You do have you actually have 3 central bank rate decision, which normally is going to be important, but because right now the conviction for them to hold is just so high, so really traders are not expecting to see any sort of cut or raise, so they expect this to be same. They also expected the Bank of Canada to hold the rate. They also expected ECB to hold the rate. So that's why, although it is a very important event, but it's not really tradable unless you have a sudden surprise. And that's it. So let's take a look at our chart. So today I did actually bought into euro dollar. Sold into it. So we have this. It was not a good day today for me, and it's not because I lost money, but because I actually broke my own rule, and that's why I'm sort of like kicking myself. So what happened is that I was holding this trade last Friday because I just don't know whether the referendum is going to be a yes or no, but I think if it's a no, it's gonna drop, and if it's a yes, it's not gonna go up too much. That was my basic concept. So I hold it, and lo and behold, we opened with a huge gap down. I was very happy, because originally I was in drawdown last week. And immediately I'm in great profit, and I actually reached as low as 1.505. That's almost 1-to-1 of my ratio. So I should have actually set my stop loss to break even, but I was in denial. I was thinking that since Italy voted for no, that's going to be very politically unstable, so this thing's gonna go lower. Whenever you catch yourself saying things like, this is gonna go lower, this is gonna go higher, there's trouble. So I should have set the stop loss to break even, but I did not, and that's what happened. It actually, not only I did not get stop at break even, I actually lose the trade, and that's really the worst case scenario, is that you turn a winning trade into a losing trade, all because you messed up your own rule. And it still happens, no matter how long you trade it, no matter how much discipline you want to be, it still happens time to time. Sometimes your psychology just kick in, sometimes you're just tired, maybe after the weekend, things like that. You make decision that you shouldn't supposed to make, and that's what happened to me today. Should have set to break even. Then the worst case scenario would have been that I get stop out at break even, but I did not set to break even. I actually get stop out at a loss, and that is a very terrible thing. On top of that, I actually add on the position again. I add on because I thought it's gonna be a great reversal hitting this area, and it's gonna continue to go down. And not only did not do that, it actually continued to go up. And today we actually had almost 1.5 to 1.8. That's 300 pips. That is 3 times of the average true range for euro dollar. So it was such a huge buying power into the euro, and I was very surprised. But again, you gotta understand, everything can happen in the market. So even though you come in the market with a lot of sentimental conviction, you have to know that you don't know what's gonna happen in the market, and that's why we put stop loss. That's exactly why you always need to respect your stop loss, is because no matter how sounding your analysis is, there is always going to be the unknown, uncertainty, and things that you cannot possibly to predict kicks in. And that's why you always want to have a stop loss, just to prevent yourself, not to prevent yourself being wrong. No, on the contrary, it's say that even though you are wrong, you still only lose what is adequate for you. So that's why you need the stop loss. And so I lost the first position and then add on and lost the second position. So it was a very, but again, the second position loss is not, it's not psychologically bad for me. I actually was fine to lose the second position because I got in basically at this resistance area. So I got in and stop out. That's just the nature of the game. I'm completely fine with it. But I'm not fine is that when I broke my own rule, when I should have said stop loss to break even and I didn't, and that was really a terrible feeling for me. So that's my loss today. And I actually also took Euro Aussie, which is also in the drawdown right now. Again, it just is such a tremendous strong buying power into Euro dollar. Very surprised. Euro New Z, I actually got stop out again. Got in here, stop out here. So really, I'm not surprised to see the direction, but I'm surprised for the strength. Because what happened again is that whenever you have this kind of election or any events, is that people will always buy rumor and sell the fact, or sell the rumor, buy the fact. So what happened is that a lot of traders thinking that the referendum is going to be a no, and so they actually sell it. So sell into the rumors, and then this green candle, this tail is when the election result actually came out as a confirmation of no. So when you have a this is a rumor, and then we have a fact, so people stop buying. They stop buying and they stop buying. And the reason I got in here is because I completely know it's fine to have this kind of reversal, right? People stop buying. But I was so surprised this thing actually just keep going higher. And I was even surprised that it actually keep going higher again to all the way almost reach 1.08. So that was a surprise factor that I didn't know why people would want to buy euro to this point. But then again, it could be many reasons. It could be that people are actually selling dollar because it's overextended. It could be that people are placing in their bait. They try to, hedge fund try to bid it price up so that on Thursday when the ECB announce a bond buying, they can actually sell it in a better level. That could be all the scenarios. We don't really care, because what you want to know is that these things like this always happen. So always try to protect yourself. That's a very important thing. So that's what I mentioned. We got a 2 euro dollar trade, another euro dollar trade loss. So really, euro is a big loss today for me. Euro Aussie, I'm still in, but really not looking forward to it. Right? And other than that, I have one cable trade which is really drifting sideways. I also have a New Zealand trade, which is a slightly in profit, but nothing particular. I have a cash sweep trade again. It's sort of break even. Aussie Swiss trade sort of break even. My dollar Swiss trade also got stop out today. So again, not a good day to open the week, but I'm fine to get stop out. I'm just really surprised the strength into this, into Swiss franc and euro dollar today. But it is what it is. So that's another loss today. And dollar yen, I got stop out at break even. So really, you see, there's not much movement today. You go up and you go down. So really, that's pretty much it for my intraday trade. And as for now, I'm still going to, my game plan is still the same. I'm buying US dollar. I am buying, I want to see what happened to the Australian dollar, the GDP, later on when we have a cash rate today and bank statement. But if all things are equal, Australian dollar is still very good. New Zealand dollar, on the other hand, really depend on the data for tomorrow. So I'm gonna stay out for that. So really, the more conviction is into US dollar and New Zealand dollar. US dollar and Australian dollar, and still sell Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and euro dollar. So these three are still my number one sale. Canadian dollar, I'm more neutral to it. It's positive, but I don't want to add on any position to that. New Zealand dollar, I'm gonna stay it out for now, and British pound, I'm going to buy against Japanese yen and Swiss franc, but I'm gonna stay out from other things. So that's pretty much, the game plan for intraday trade. And let's take a look at our 28 pairs. So again, I hope that, always, first of all, of course, always have a stop loss, but always respect your own rules and really follow it disciplinedly, And also understand that in the financial market, no matter how good your analysis is, there's always going to be unexpected things happen. So to prevent yourself, to basically stay long in this game, to survive in this game, really the most important thing is always to have an adequate stop loss to prevent the disasters. Because I can tell you, there is a lot of people been making money for a long time, but one or two devastated loss can wipe you out, not only financially but psychologically. So again, you might be able to make money just because there's a bull market, just because you're lucky and things like that. But one or two loss, that catastrophic loss, because either you too confident, you over leverage, or you don't have a stop loss, can wipe you out financially and psychologically. And I'm telling you, it happened to me personally. Back then it happened to me, making money continuously, and one catastrophic loss wiped me out financially and psychologically. Like I had to stop trading for almost over an year. So just, it was a very painful period, but just give you this, just a personal experience. That's why nowadays, you might say I trade very conservatively, but really my goal is really to survive in this market. Because no matter how happy you are to ride in this ride, really, watch out for any big loss. At the end of the day, when you become a professional trader, it's not how much money you make. It's that you can always avoid the big loss. As long as you can avoid a big loss, let your small win eliminate your small loss, and then eventually let your small win run, so become a big win. That's really how you come out as a winner. At least for me, that's just my personal point of view. So let's take a look at, this is not our daily chart. Okay, let's take a look at euro. So euro pound today, as mentioned, 83.31 was a very significant support. We touch it, and now we're going up again. So is that a good signal? Definitely a good signal. But is that a good thing for me to buy? Well, not really, because again, this euro and pound is not something I want to do in daily trade. And if I have to pick one, I will pick British pound, to be honest. I will put my money in British pound. But for this week, because they both have these unstable events coming out, ECB is going to announce the bond buying, and pound right now has the high court ruling. So they both are something I don't want to touch for this week, basically, just because the two unstable events. Euro Swiss, look at that, we actually open here, goes up. It's such a, and when you even have this kind of candlestick, you can just disregard it, because it's really a abnormal event. So it's not really taken into consideration. So of course, nothing for me. Euro dollar, same thing. Euro Aussie, it's almost the same thing. People might say, hey, but this is a engulfing candle. Yeah, it is an engulfing candle, but you have to look behind, like what's happening today. Why does it have an engulfing candle? To see that if this momentum is going to continue, right? So for me, I really never had any too much faith in euro, and I think today's buying is really just temporary. So I'm not going to buy euro at all, basically, but just still showing the chart. Euro CAD, Euro New Z, and Euro Yen. So yep, that's pretty much it. My Euro Yen might be good, but right now Euro Yen is the biggest winner today. Basically, you go 118 to 123, almost 500 pips. So it was the biggest winner, and no surprise when you have these kind of events. Japanese yen will always be buying, but then the huge reversal to cause these huge candlesticks. Now, pound Swiss, it does look like a small kangaroo tail, bearish kangaroo tail, or inverted hammer. But for me, I'm really don't want to touch British pound for this week, just because I don't know when the high court ruling is gonna come out, and that's really gonna create a lot of volatility. So that's why I tend to not want to get into any pound trade for this week. Pound dollar keep going up, and pound Aussie, it's, oh, by the way, when I say this kind of thing, it's because I'm doing daily trade. So when I'm doing daily trade, I'm really trying to look in a more long-term perspective. I'm gonna look at what happened next day, next few days. Now, if you want to go to intraday trade, then of course you can really, short pound Swiss if you want to do that. If you have a good session analysis, then yeah, that's fine. So it's just to give you more clear explanation. Pound Aussie, pound CAD, pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand was very tempting. This was something I was very tempting to take it, because I do like the signal. But I just don't want to touch British pound trade for this week. And the reason is because I don't know when the high court ruling is going to come out. And basically, it's going to be very political and sentiment driven. And that's why people are going to either buy or sell. That's the first thing. Second thing is that I don't really have much strong conviction into New Zealand dollar either. First of all, the Prime Minister just stepped down, as I was saying, that's an unstable event. And then they are going to have a GDT price tomorrow, which that will make me not wanting to take any trade now until tomorrow. So I want to see how are the GDT price doing, and also the government is going to speak. The RBNZ governor is going to speak tomorrow, so that also again gonna play some volatility. So because of all these unstable risk events, so that's why I don't want to get into this trade. Even though I might get filled, it might go to my direction, but I might very well get reversal. So that's why, whenever in daily trade, when I'm not certain, I tend not to take it. Pound yen, and again Swiss yen, and dollar Swiss. Look at dollar; it's pretty much all the same directions. And look at that, you realize that Japanese yen is still the weakest one, because look at when dollar versus other pair, it's all red candle, right? When they versus euro, it's green. So the only thing they won today is against Japanese yen. Aussie Swiss and Aussie dollar keep going up. Aussie CAD. People might say that, am I going to buy? No, for me it's just a doji. Right? This is just a doji movement. It is in a good area, but I'm going to wait to see what happened to the Australian dollar cash rate for tonight. And I also have another risk events coming out tomorrow for GDP, right? So that's why I don't want to really get into this trade. It's not a good signal for me anyway. It's a doji, but just to let you know. Let's keep going. Aussie New Zealand, it's in the range area basically as mentioned, and Aussie yen, and CAD Swiss, CAD yen, and let's take a look at the Swiss, New Zealand dollar, New Zealand CAD, and New Zealand yen. So really nothing really on my plate right now. Now people might say this is a good doji or hammer. I mean, not really. It's just for me it's just a range area, right? It's all stuck together, so it's not just by looking at price action. It's not really something I'm interested to take. On top of that, I don't really have any fundamental or sentimental reason to take this trade, as Canadian dollar has a better sentiment right now. New Zealand dollar is actually one of the weakest currency today as well. So, and no surprise, this kind of, again, the political unstableness is always going to play a fact into a currency, into a country's economy. So tomorrow we'll see what happened to the GDT price. and what happened to RBNZ's statement, if the government say anything. But if just technically speaking, yeah, this does look very nice. And the reason is because you have a sort of resistance or support right here, right? So this is a good area, basically. But it's just not something I want to take right now. I don't want to take any pound trade or any new Z trade because the unstable events. Because first of all, the High Court ruling for UK, we also have the New Zealand dollar GT price tomorrow. We also have the RBNZ government leader speaks. So all these things, and if all things are equal, British pound is actually strong right now, sentimentally and fundamentally. So that's why the only reason you buy New Zealand dollar is because the high yield, right? They are high yield currency. But right now, investor who wants to buy that, they can actually hedge into a stock market, US stock market, okay, or they can just buy US dollar. So basically, it's not something that it's not a number one choice for people, basically, at this point. So that's why I don't feel confident enough to take this trade. And that's just my own analysis. You feel free to do whatever you feel it's but just saying the price action wise, it does look very nice. But I don't have enough conviction to take this one. So that's it, guys. And I don't have anything right now. Don't be surprised. This is exactly how I take my daily trade. Very slow, very selective. But I will give you my intraday trade. So maybe those of you want more actions, you can definitely do that. So for intraday trade, I am still looking to buy US dollar versus. I'm still looking to buy US dollar versus Japanese yen, versus Swiss franc, and sell euro dollar. This is something I'm still looking forward to buy. I'm also looking forward to buy Aussie yen, Aussie Swiss, and sell euro Aussie. But that has to happen if Australian dollar has a good data and a good commodity price. And these are the only two currency I'm looking at. And then I'm also looking to buy pound yen, also looking to buy pound Swiss, and also looking to short euro pound actually. So this is the third one that I'm interested to take. Other than that, the rest of them are kind of neutral, so I'm gonna stay out. So that's my game plan for intraday trade. And in terms of risk event trade, you could trade the GDD price, but only if you have something that's more than 11.4 or less than minus 3. So you wanted this kind of maximal deviation for you to take a trade. So you could do that tomorrow to trade New Zealand dollar. And remember, it's just a short-term thing. And watch out for the RBNZ government speaks, right? Ideally, set your stop loss to break even before he speaks. And then Wednesday, you could trade Bank of Canada, but because it's most likely going to be on hold, so it's not, you want to trade only if it's a surprise. And then Thursday, ECB, this again, you want to trade only if it's a surprise. So I don't really know if you can tradable. And that's it, nothing really much for this week. Next week, some US data and the fund rate. This is the most important thing next week. But we'll talk more about that next week. But as for this week, I only have a few events. So that's it. So the intraday trade, again, you can buy dollar against Japanese yen, against Swiss franc, or against euro. You can buy Australian dollar against Japanese yen. You can buy against Swiss franc, or you can buy it against euro. And you can also buy British pound against Japanese yen, or buy it against Swiss franc, or buy it against euro. So pretty much that's it for intraday trade. I don't have anything daily And risk events, I don't have anything for now. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any question or anything you're not really clear about, feel free to ask me or leave comment below. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow with another daily analysis. Thanks for watching. Thanks very much. Bye bye.